Hi everybody, I hope you are all well and I hope you all had a happy and safe Christmas. It is Monday the 27th of December and it is 23 minutes past 11 in the morning. I have been quite busy. I got to spend Christmas with my family, which was absolutely lovely. So I stayed over at my mum and dad's house for a couple of nights, and I just got back yesterday. And yesterday I was doing washing and catching up and stuff and everything. So I'm finishing off the book I've been reading because obviously Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I was busy doing other stuff and spending that time with my family, which was absolutely wonderful. We all did lateral flow tests before we met up, of course, and everything was fine. And so, yeah, we got to spend Christmas together. And what made it extra special, actually, was that my sister, brother-in-law, nephew, and niece got to spend Christmas with us. And it's actually the first Christmas in years that we've spent Christmas Day together. Now, just to explain, usually we have like a get together on the build up to Christmas Day, like I don't know, around like the 20th or something, and then we have like a get together at New Year's because Laura, husband and kids, and that usually they're doing something different. So but because of COVID and everything this year, they found that they weren't able to go the plans that they were planning to. So my mum was like, well, come over and spend Christmas with us. And so we got to spend Christmas Day, actual Christmas Day together, for the first time in years. So it was really, really lovely. And yeah, I just wanted to spend all that time with my family. And so I took the extra day to finish off reading the book that I was reading. And so yeah, so now I'm just having this time that just chilling out and everything, because I finished work obviously for Christmas. I got an extra week off from work, so it's just been really lovely just to chill and do nothing. And today it is a really wet, miserable day here. I would have wanted to go for a walk today, but that got called off. So staying at home, cooking and just chilling out sounds fabulous to me. And I've got a nice hot cup of tea here with me. So hang on just a sec. Oh, I needed that. See, I'm come prepared because last time when I did a reading, I started coughing and spluttering because my throat was so dry. So I was like, make sure you got a drink this time, Becky. But anyway, enough about that. But I just want to say again, I really hope that everyone had a happy and safe Christmas. It feels like an odd Christmas for sure this year, even odder than last year when you couldn't get together with people. But it is what it is. That I just I'm glad that my family was able to celebrate together, and I really, really hope you guys were able to celebrate with your families too. But yes, right, I'll shut up about Christmas now. I'm here to talk about the book I have been reading this week, which is Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This is one which I had explained in my announcement video for this, but just in case you didn't see that, this book has actually been following me everywhere since it got released. It was like every bookshop I went into, it's there. Every email from like Waterstones or Amazon recommended me books, it's there. Every time I went on to Amazon's like front page, Waterstones, it's there. So I was like, oh my god, okay. And I'd fallen in love with the book cover for Lily, which I read before this, and when I went into a Waterstones right before Christmas, both of them were sat side by side on a table, these two most gorgeous covers, and I was like, oh my god, I can't resist it. I can't resist. So I bought Ariadne. I don't tend to read about Greek mythology, but I know enough to know, okay, right, so this is kind of the gist of what's going to happen. Now, Jennifer Saint, this is her debut novel, so obviously had no experience of her writing before this. I didn't know what to expect or anything like that. And it was, all I knew about this book is that it's a retelling of the story of Ariadne. If you don't know about Ariadne, Google her. There's a whole load of Wikipedia stuff about her, but to summarize, this isn't giving spoilers exactly. I'll explain what I mean in a minute. Ariadne, her brother was a minotaur who was locked away in a labyrinth by her father because he was a minotaur, and every year people got brought to him to be sacrificed, basically. And one of those people that were brought to him one year was Theseus, who Ariadne fell head over heels in love with, but she knew she couldn't let him go to his death. So she developed a plan in order to prevent the man that she loved from being killed by her brother. So there we go. So that's the kind of the gist of her story. There is more after that, of course, but I'm not going to say that because spoilers. But if you want to, go off and have a look on Wikipedia and such. Now, the reason why I say that's not giving the spoilers is because Ariadne's story, if you look through Greek mythology, she has got this very interesting thing that happens whereby what I just said applies through all of every time her story's been written, applies through. But then it's after that and her later life where there's kind of multiple different versions of her story, and no one really knows exactly which story is the correct one, as it were. But this is the thing, Ariadne, it's a Greek mythology. Things got made up. It is what it was. So there is no way of knowing exactly which one was the genuine article, so to speak. So Jennifer Saint has gone into this, and because she has this multiple options, and also because she is an author, she can rewrite whatever kind of she wants. It gives her flexibility to play with Ariadne's story. So even though I kind of knew the gist, that's why I didn't know what I was going into with the story and how this was going to end. And to be honest, it's an okay first novel, but for me, it didn't quite work. There are multiple factors at play here as to why it didn't work for me. Firstly, the writing itself. Now, Jennifer does tell the Greek mythology stories well. She refers to multiple Greek stories in this book, so it's not just that she's only solely focusing on Ariadne, even though Ariadne takes the bulk of it, but she does write about other stories, and she tells them in a succinct manner, which is very easy to understand, which I appreciated because some Greek mythology stories that she referred to, I couldn't quite remember, so it was good to have her basically teach it to me again, to refresh my brain of all that. But at the same time, it completely lacked atmosphere for me. Like, her story is dark. It's really dark, and she talks about, because the book is written from first person perspective of Ariadne, and Ariadne talks about her childhood and about the hell that her mother went through giving birth to her brother, and the aftermath of seeing this monster that she had given birth to, and how people reacted and such, and the dark depression and that her mother went through. But it's written so lightly that it's kind of like, this doesn't feel right. If you're telling me that your mother is in such a dark, sinister place, why are you being quite light and fluffy about it? I'm not getting how that is impacting the character of Ariadne, because you're being a bit blasé about it. It's that thing that in real life, and also obviously in fiction, things that people experience when they are children can greatly affect their adult life, whether they're good things or bad things. And in the case of Ariadne's mother, this is dark stuff. But I just kind of felt very disconnected from it. And I don't know if that was a purpose thing, because Ariadne wants to disconnect herself from that situation. But at the same time, it's like, this greatly impacts you and how you feel about possibly becoming a wife and mother in the future, and the definition of love and motherhood, and love that will never break. It's got a big emphasis on your story. So why are you being a bit blasé about it? I just had some problems with that. The characters themselves are, I can only describe them as meh. It isn't a case that I think of them as meh because I'm just not getting them or anything, you know, that I'm just not getting my head into this Greek mythology world. It's just that Ariadne just walks around and just goes, you know, she's just very odd about people in general. She if she really likes you, she will take her time to really focus on you, but other than that, you're just to the waistline kind of thing. Even she's a bit funny about her sister, and I'm just like, given what they've been through, or Jennifer Saint wrote for their story, I think I'd feel a bit different. It's unless she feels for like this love, this overwhelming love, like she does for Theseus, she feels nothing for anyone else. But emotions and love and everything, and conflicting emotions, is a big thing of Ariadne's story, or at least what I've always interpreted her story to be, unless I'm completely wrong on that matter. Please let me know if I am wrong. So for her to just kind of go, oh my god, Theseus is my 100% focus, and just not care about anybody else, it was just a bit weird. There was also something that Jennifer does in this book which startled me, and I had a look on Goodreads if anybody else felt the same way, and I found people who did. And that, right, again, I don't know a massive amount about Greek mythology, but I do kind of know timelines of various characters, and different gods and other people of Greek mythology are referred to in this book as people that Ariadne knows. Kind of like, if you've ever watched Disney's Hercules, you see how the gods kind of know each other, and they kind of have a little bit of attitude, like, oh god, it's him again, you know, kind of thing. It's kind of like that in this book. And there's a whole connection with Hercules and such in this with her family. But I was thinking back, and I was thinking, well, hang on, that timeline doesn't work out, because that connection that you're saying to Hercules there shouldn't exist, should it? And I found various people on Goodreads who have commented, who love Greek mythology, who know a lot more about Greek mythology than me, that said that doesn't make any sense, that can't be true. If you look at Ariadne's family line and Hercules' family, the actual lines don't meet the way that Jennifer has written. So yeah, I was validated in that. So be prepared if you are reading this and you're really into Greek mythology more than I am, then be prepared to possibly find that Jennifer has played with some you know, timelines and family trees in order to make what she wants work. I feel quite disappointed with this book. I went into this, as I said, because I didn't know exactly which line of Ariadne's story that Jennifer would go down. But the combinations of meh characters, the strange family trees and such, the lack of atmosphere, the lack of depth, and when I say depth, it kind of goes with the character and the atmosphere thing. Like I said, you know, the real darkness of a depression, the real depths of people, sort of the true understanding of human nature and everything, and how Ariadne just does not get it. All of that combined, it just fell flat for me. And it kind of felt like she was always teasing, building up to something, and then didn't deliver. And she does this multiple times in the book. And I got to the end of this book and I felt like a bit like I'd wasted my time. Not like I am so this book is so terrible. It's a massive letdown. Da, 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 da. It has no possible good qualities to it. It has good qualities to it. It's just not quite there. And I think it's quite possibly suffering from first book syndrome, which I've talked about before, especially with, you can see it with Cassandra Clare. Now, first book syndrome is not a bad thing. If you have a look at somebody's writing over a period of time, you can see that a book very clearly is a first book, but the way you've identified that is you can see their writing progress over time, like Cassandra Clare in the Mortal Instruments series that she wrote. That is a positive thing, because you can see the development of her writing and her becoming a true great writer. So when I'm saying that it's suffering, or at least it feels like it to me, suffering from first book syndrome, I am not saying that as a negative thing. I'm saying that Jennifer has the potential to improve on her writing, and I really hope she does. She's actually has the second book due out, I think, in April, about I think it was Electra. So again, retelling another mythology story, and yeah, I say good luck to her with that. And yeah, we'll just, see what happens with that book. But for now, it just kind of feels like I think she really needs to work on character and depth and such. I don't know if it would help if she switched up the perspective, because this was first person from Ariadne. So maybe she wanted Ariadne to be very much blasé about various people and such in her life, and make it that she's so obsessed with Theseus. So yeah, and maybe that's the angle that she was going for. And perhaps this next book she's doing something different. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But yeah, maybe that's changing the perspective could make a big impact. I don't know, but let's just see. So I'm not putting her down, but I think constructive criticism from me is that she needs to really work on character and depth of the character in order to get the connection to her, and therefore to the various characters, and also for our main character, especially she's writing from a first person perspective, and then you really care when things happen to them later on. Yeah, and stop with the teasing and not delivering. Those would be my things that I would say to Jennifer about her book. So yeah, I'm not going to do a reading. I've decided, because I've already been going on for quite some time. So yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. But those are my thoughts on Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Oh, before I finish, I've just remembered one thing. Just FYI, if you're not a big follower of Greek mythology books, I did have to do a lot of Googling just to check how you pronounce various names, because I've had this in the past where I've had looking at various names throughout history and from various different countries and such, and it's just the various vowels and such, how they are pronounced can really, in certain countries or certain times, can really impact the sound of the name. So I did have to do some Googling just to check that the name I was thinking of in my head was actually the name that was to be reflected in this book. So yeah, if you're not aware that there's quite a range of names in this book, and so you possibly might have to be like me that has to Google it, but of course you might be extremely smart and be able to get it right away. Maybe I'm just conscious that I'm going to say the wrong name. But yeah, I did have to do a bit of Googling. But anyway, those are my thoughts of Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. So my usual questions. Would I read this again? Right now, no. I think if I were to pick up a later one of Jennifer's books and see that the writing has improved and such, I think I might go back and reread and critique this and see how I felt about it. But for now, the answer is no. Would I read any more of Jennifer Saint's books? I think she definitely has some real positives for her writing. Right now, I don't feel like I want to read another Greek mythology book, but I won't say no, because you know what I'm like. I don't, until I've read multiple books by an author and, you know, critiqued their work, I won't give up on an author, unless they really, really, really ticked me off for one reason or another. So I definitely give Jennifer Saint another go. But yeah, not quite now. Would I recommend this to anyone? I think I would, if somebody, actually, one of my work colleagues asked me if I had any books on mythology and such that I would recommend. And I said, well, I don't really read mythology. I think I might recommend this to her and see how she feels. And I'd love to get her thoughts on it as somebody who reads a lot of mythology books. So yeah, if I knew someone who was really into mythology, I might say, oh, this new author, Jennifer Saint, is getting into mythology books. And I quite enjoyed it, but I found some technical issues with the writing. Then yeah, I would recommend her book. So yeah. So those are my thoughts on Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. Have you read this book? I'd love to know what you think. Leave me a comment in the comments box below, or give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, entirely up to you. I'll let you decide. I'll be back with my thoughts on my final read of the year, which is Hagseed by Margaret Atwood. I've got my bookmark all ready to go in it, and I'm going to be starting to read this today, like right after I've finished filming this. So yeah, my last book of the year, and then of course I'll be doing my usual roundup of the year, letting you know what books I bought for the new year, and also letting you know what my plan is for 2022. So I will see you then. Bye.